how do you feel about the macro outlook under this new presidency?
I think it's bad right now for the U.S. I think this unfortunately, Trump is just continuing the failed policies of prior presidents, including, when Trump was there before. We're just running bigger deficits, so we're going to have more inflation. I think we're headed for a sovereign debt crisis and a dollar crisis.
Okay, when do you think this crisis? You have a crystal ball, Peter.
I don't have a crystal ball.
So you have no idea. So because we're heading into this crisis, right? But the problem is that you never really know exactly when this crisis will occur because there's so many of these like little fiat Ponzi. Let's put one hole in the ship while another five holes leak water and all this other stuff. So like, how do you know? Like,
you don't. But look, you can look for some clues. Okay. Like the fact that gold has gone from 2,000 to 3,300 in the past year. The fact that central banks are buying so much gold, that's one clue. The fact that you're now seeing the U.S. dollar falling, treasuries falling simultaneously, that's a clue. The dollar is not really being looked at as a safe haven anymore, neither U.S. treasuries. So the safe haven money is flowing into gold, and treasuries are more of a risk asset. So I think you're seeing some of these dynamics shift. I think the escalation of the trade war is backfiring. I think, rather than, the world taking advantage of America, it's been America taking advantage of the world. And I think the world really is backing away from that.
In some cases, right, like American asset holders are taking advantage of the world because China and all these other countries buy U.S. stocks with the dollars that they receive from us because they're buying cheap goods from them because they produce everything off of slave labor.
No, it's not slave labor. That's not China. The world. We have trade deficits with just about every country.
No, I know that. Yeah,
and it's not because they have slave labor.
Well, it's like a pejorative, right? Like it's just
no, but the fact that the dollar is so overvalued makes our labor more expensive than labor in other countries. But the dollar is overvalued because the world wants it as a reserve currency. But I think that the appetite to accumulate dollars is diminishing. And you're seeing a lot of our trading partners moving away from the dollar. That's why they're buying gold. And so I think that's going to undermine the whole phony U.S. economy that's been built on a foundation of cheap imports and foreign currency.
Okay, and what does that do for Bitcoin?
I don't think it does anything for Bitcoin.
Well, I'm the Bitcoin conference.
Well, I'm at Bitcoin conference, just to talk, in fact, people out of Bitcoin.
Well, you're trying to get us to sell it like gold?
Well, that would be great for you guys. But of course, you all can't sell your Bitcoin because someone has to be dumb enough to buy it. Otherwise, it collapses. Right? You hear me. But look, I think it's irrelevant for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is based on height and the greater fool. And that's all it is. It's just getting more people to buy it.
And not to be personal, but like, what does your son Spencer say to you when you tell him this?
You don't talk about it much because he's not that interested in Bitcoin anymore. Because he's all into AI and he moved to San Francisco. And, Bitcoin is like not a big deal for him. So that's just
So it's not like I got a tinfoil hat theory, Peter, that like you're the archetypical Bitcoin villain in the story. Hold on. Sure. Yeah. You identify as a good guy. Yes.
It's the Bitcoin guys that are the villains.
Okay, but
Michael Saylor's the villain.
What I was gonna say, Peter. What I was gonna say is you're playing the pro wrestling villain role really well, while your son is just stacking.
No, he's not stacking
he's just stacking like crazy while you're playing the role of the I see what's happening.
No, he's not stacking anything. He just got out of college. He doesn't have any money. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any debt because I paid the tuition. But no, he doesn't have a stack.
Okay.
But you can't even stack Bitcoin because there's nothing there. There's nothing to stack. It's all an illusion.
Oh.
You could stack gold or silver. They're stackable.
Are you not worried?
How do you build a stack of nothing?
This guy's electric.
No, you guys are laughing because in 10 or 20 years you're going to look back and laugh at how dumb you guys were.
Yeah.
You bought all this nonsense.
But what happens when AI and the massive technological improvements that result from us using better money in the digital age, which is obviously Bitcoin. But I think hold on, wait. But Peter, hold on. Okay, but what happens? But what happens when technical advancements gets to the point where you're able to produce gold at a significantly higher rate when the supply of gold starts increasing by untold amount, whereas the supply of Bitcoin cannot increase by an untold amount. It's programmed into the code.
It's far more likely that your computer will break that code and flood the world with Bitcoin, because it's going to be a lot easier to make Bitcoin out of nothing than to make gold out of nothing. Gold took the big bang, right? I mean, gold, it is not easy to create. Somebody came up with the formula for Bitcoin out of thin air. But look at all these other cryptos that are out there that are pretty much the same as Bitcoin. A lot of them are better than Bitcoin.
XRP.
And look at all these meme coins.
How much have you invested in the Hawk-Tuah coin?
Well, might as well buy that as Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
What about Fartcoin? Fartcoin, Fartcoin's been,
Well, it's a great way to diversify our portfolio in the face of economic uncertainty.
Yeah, so as long as you recognize that Fartcoin and Bitcoin are pretty much the same things, just have a different name, but they both stink.
Are you upset that Trump has not put Fartcoin in the strategic digital asset reserve?
Well, why doesn't he put Trump coin in? But there is I don't know what's in the strategic. No, there's a strategic reserve that's supposed to be just Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then there's the crypto stockpile,
which shouldn't exist.
None of them should exist.
Well, the Bitcoin is okay.
Why do we need a strategic reserve of Bitcoin? What the hell do we need that for?
Because theoretically, it's better money, and the more we accumulate it right now, in the event that we obviously try to grow our way out of the debt, which is basically hyperinflate the currency, the price of Bitcoin can exceed at a higher rate than what the debt is, so it can pay down some of the debt theoretically.
If you want to buy Bitcoin, go ahead and buy it, but just don't buy it with my money. Right? The government should not be creating inflation or taking tax dollars and just speculating in Bitcoin. Right? The people can do that on their own if they want to. There's nothing that stops any American citizen from wasting their money on Bitcoin. So I don't want the government wasting my money on Bitcoin. I don't want to buy it. So I don't want the government should buy it. I mean, why don't they start buying penny stocks? Why Bitcoin? Why not Bitcoin? Right? So this is all fraud. It's because the president got bought by the Bitcoin community because they made so much money scamming other people that they were able to bribe Donald Trump and other politicians into these Bitcoin reserves.
And do you think that a billionaire president needs another bribe? He's already a billionaire. How much more money does he need? He's already a billionaire.
You know what? But he's making more money now as president than he ever made as a private citizen. He's raking it in. Right? I mean, first of all, he scored himself a $400 million plane, but that's just that's just small.
Oh, that's peanuts. Yeah,
compared to the money he's making. Look, he just went to the Middle East, got billions and billions of dollars for his family's hedge funds and other businesses that they set up. Now he's got all kinds of hotel and golf course deals. He is making a ton of money exploiting the power of the presidency for personal gain.
Well, the meme coin thing was abominable. The Trump meme coin was absolutely
but also,
disgraceful.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, but he only has a few billions. He wants to have a lot more. He wants to have tens of billions. He wants to be like Elon Musk. He's not satisfied with just being a billionaire. He wants to be a multi-billionaire. So I think he's going to leave office with tens of billions more than he did.
Okay. Last question, Peter. What are you doing to prepare for an AOC presidency?
Oh shit! I'm living in Puerto Rico, where she can't tax me.
All right, great answer.
But you know what? A lot of the stuff that the Republicans are doing is paving the way for AOC.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, thanks, man.